Ever feel like you need a roadmap to navigate this crazy tech world?
Right.
Well, that's what we're doing today. We're diving deep into 40 years of tech disruptions.
Yeah.
And we have just the expert to guide us, Marynês Pereira.
Absolutely.
She's been in the trenches since...
since like the dot matrix printers.
Seriously.
Yeah, those were the days.
I mean, it's incredible to think about how much has changed and, not just gadgets.
No.
But how we work.
Right.
How we connect with each other.
Yes.
How we actually live our lives.
It really is about the ripple effects.
Totally. And you think about Maryn's career, it's the perfect example.
Yeah.
She used to walk into meetings with those massive presentation boards.
Yeah.
You know the ones I'm talking about.
I do.
Now it's all just sleek slide decks. It makes you think
It does.
what professions have completely vanished because of changes like that.
It really is a constant evolution.
Oh, yeah.
And to grasp it, we really need to rewind a bit.
Okay.
Let's go back to the 1990s.
Right.
When the internet went from this niche thing
Right.
to, everything.
It was huge.
Huge. Yeah. And you remember dial-up.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Now imagine life without e-commerce,
Oh, my gosh.
without online shopping, without all of that.
It's mind-blowing.
It is.
Without instant information.
Exactly. And Mary saw all of this happen firsthand.
I mean, that was just the beginning.
It was.
It's crazy. Then the 2000s hit.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's the age of social media.
It really was.
Friendster, MySpace, all that.
MySpace, oh yeah.
The early days.
The early days.
We were all just figuring it out as we went.
We were.
But it wasn't just about connecting with friends.
No.
This changed how businesses marketed themselves, how news spread.
It really did.
It rewrote the rules.
It's true.
And we can't forget about the smartphone.
Oh yes, smartphones.
It was rising in popularity during this time.
Yeah.
Constant connection.
Constant connection, yeah.
Impacting everything
everywhere.
from how we maintain relationships to how we absorb information.
Yeah.
But just as we were getting used to that whole always-on world,
Right.
the 2010s hit.
The 2010s, yeah.
And social media went from connecting us to influencing elections.
I know, it's crazy, right?
Talk about a power shift. And then suddenly data analysis became essential.
Absolute crucial.
Businesses were scrambling
Yeah.
to try to understand this whole new playing field. And then in the background, AI is emerging,
It's creeping in.
quietly becoming part of our everyday apps.
It's just becoming part of the background of our lives.
And then we get our first real taste of VR and AR.
Yeah. Virtual reality, augmented reality.
And those early glimpses
Yeah.
hinted at this whole new reality waiting in the wings.
Yeah. They were definitely a sign of things to come.
And those hints became impossible to ignore in the 2020s.
No, they did it.
It's like this decade. It's
Yeah.
like stepping on the gas after a long period of just coasting.
That's a great way to put it.
The metaverse and Web3 burst onto the scene,
Yeah, they did.
promising to revolutionize how we interact online.
Yeah.
AI isn't just emerging anymore, it's practically everywhere.
It's everywhere you look.
Automating tasks at just this unprecedented pace.
I know, it's incredible.
And the way we work.
Yeah.
Forget the office.
Right.
Remote and hybrid models are now the norm.
Totally normal.
This decade really accelerated the rate of disruption.
It really did.
I mean, it's dizzying to keep up with.
I know it is.
We just sped through 4 decades of massive change.
We did it.
You've got to wonder,
Yeah.
how do you even adapt to that?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's where it gets really interesting. This
Okay,
isn't just
so-
about keeping up with the latest gadget or
Well,
software update or anything.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating a mindset
Okay.
that embraces change,
Okay.
that sees disruption not as a threat, but like an opportunity.
So it's less about becoming an expert in, say, the metaverse today, and more about having the skills to adapt to whatever comes next,
Exactly.
even if we don't know what that is yet.
Exactly. You got it.
Okay.
Instead of trying to predict the future,
Right.
we need to equip ourselves to navigate it.
Yeah.
No matter what curveballs get thrown our way.
Totally.
And that's where things like
Yeah.
critical thinking, problem solving,
Okay.
even emotional intelligence,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
those become really crucial.
Interesting.
These are skills that transcend
Yeah.
specific technologies,
Oh,
job titles.
yeah.
You know,
I see what you mean.
they're the foundation
Yeah.
for navigating a world that's constantly changing.
That makes sense, but it still feels a bit abstract.
Okay.
What does that look like in practice?
Okay, good question.
Yeah.
How can somebody listening say, all right, I'm ready to embrace this whole adaptable mindset?
Yeah. Where do they even begin?
It starts with curiosity.
Okay.
It starts with being a proactive learner.
Okay.
Instead of waiting for information to come to you. Remember those massive presentation boards?
Oh, yeah, those things.
Yeah.
Hard to forget.
I know, right?
The dinosaurs.
Those presentations were often like one-way streets of information.
Okay.
But today, the most valuable knowledge,
Right.
it's not confined to textbooks or lectures.
Oh, totally.
It's out there. It's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to seek it out,
Okay.
to engage with diverse perspectives,
I like that.
to be comfortable with not having all the answers.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So instead of just passively consuming information, we need to be actively questioning,
Yes.
exploring, even challenging the status quo.
Exactly.
It's about becoming comfortable with being a student for life.
You got it.
Lifelong learning.
Lifelong learning.
Yeah.
And that's a muscle you can build.
I like that.
You know, you can build that muscle.
So how do we do that?
Take online courses,
Okay.
join industry forums,
Right?
attend webinars,
Yeah.
even just have conversations with people outside your usual circles.
Oh, that's a good point. I like that.
The more you expose yourself to new ideas and ways of thinking,
Yeah.
the more adaptable you become.
It's like cross-training for your brain.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect to run a marathon by only doing bicep curls.
Right.
You need to work different muscle groups to be truly fit.
Yeah.
And it's the same with navigating the tech world.
Exactly.
We need to develop a versatile skill set to stay ahead of the curve.
I like that analogy. That's great.
Thanks.
It's about building cognitive flexibility.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets really intriguing,
Okay.
especially when we're talking about
Yeah.
the hottest topic in tech right now.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence.
AI.
AI. Everyone's buzzing about it.
They are. It's true.
The potential is huge. There's always a but.
There is, right?
Yeah.
It can't all be smooth sailing with AI.
Right. What are we missing in all the hype?
Well, think about the early days
Right.
of any major technological shift.
Okay.
Remember when the internet first became like widely accessible?
Oh, yeah.
Websites were clunky,
Yes.
connections were slow.
Painfully slow.
I know. And there were all these promises
Oh, yeah.
about what it could do.
How many broken promises?
I know, right?
And we're kind of seeing some parallels with AI today.
So you're saying we're still in the dial-up phase of AI?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
All this potential, but not quite there yet.
Right.
In terms of like seamless integration and delivering on every single promise.
Right. It still feels a little clunky.
It does.
And we're still figuring it out.
Yeah, we're all figuring it out as we
Yeah,
go.
go again.
Exactly. And this is where like understanding the limitations of AI becomes really crucial.
Okay.
We can't just assume these tools are going to work perfectly right out of the box.
Especially when we hear about things like algorithmic bias,
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
right? Like AI is only as good as the data it's trained on. And if that data reflects existing prejudices, then the AI is just going to perpetuate those biases.
It's true. And often on a much larger scale.
Yeah, that's what's scary.
It is?
It's one thing when it's like a person,
Right.
but when it's like amplified.
Exactly. It's a multiplier.
Yeah.
And that's where responsible development and use come into play.
Okay.
It's not enough to just build powerful AI systems.
Right.
We need to make sure those systems are used ethically and responsibly.
Oh, totally.
It's about asking those tough questions.
Yeah, what are those tough questions?
About the potential consequences of these technologies and actively working to mitigate any harm.
So it's not just about adapting to AI, but also about shaping its development and deployment.
Exactly.
But how do we do that?
Yeah, that's the question.
Because it's easy to feel powerless.
It is.
As individuals.
Totally.
When we're talking about something as complex and rapidly evolving as AI, it's true. It's easy to feel like we're just along for the ride when it comes to AI.
Yeah.
Especially with experts like Marines constantly updating their playbooks.
Right.
So how do we move from passive passengers to drivers in this whole AI revolution?
It starts with recognizing that even small actions can have a big impact.
Okay.
Think of it like this.
Yeah.
Every time you interact with an AI system, you're providing data.
Oh, right.
Your choices, your preferences, your feedback.
Okay.
It all gets fed back into the system.
That we're all part of this.
And influences how it evolves.
Massive training experiment, whether we realize it or not.
Exactly. Which is why being a conscious user is so important.
Okay, so what does that look like?
Ask yourself.
Yeah.
What are the potential biases built into this system?
Okay.
Am I comfortable with how my data is being used?
Right.
Could this algorithm be perpetuating harmful stereotypes?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. And the more we engage critically with these questions,
Yeah.
the more we push for responsible AI development.
It's about being informed.
Yes.
Right? Not just about how to use the latest AI tool,
Right.
but understanding its limitations,
Exactly.
its potential pitfalls, and demanding transparency
Yes.
from the companies that are creating these systems?
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay, what kind of questions?
Look for information about how an AI system was trained,
Okay.
what data was used, and what steps are being taken to address bias.
Okay.
And if a company isn't transparent about its AI practices,
Yeah.
that's a red flag.
It's like checking the ingredients list before you buy something at the grocery store.
Exactly.
We're becoming more discerning consumers in other areas of our lives.
Right.
We need to bring that same critical eye to the tech we use.
I like that comparison.
Thanks.
And here's another powerful tool at our disposal,
Okay, what's that?
our spending habits.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Every time we buy a product or service,
Right.
we're casting a vote for the kind of future we want to see.
Oh, I like that.
If a company's prioritizing ethical AI development,
Yeah.
data privacy,
Right.
transparency, support them.
Okay.
If they're not, take your business elsewhere.
It's that whole vote with your wallet idea, but applied to the tech world.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of collective action.
What do you mean?
Support organizations that are advocating for responsible AI.
Okay.
Contact your elected officials to express your concerns about biased algorithms or the ethical implications of AI.
So it's not about waiting for someone else to fix it.
Exactly.
We can all be a part of shaping a future where technology is used for good,
Yes.
where innovation goes hand in hand with responsibility.
Precisely. And that's a powerful message to take away from Marianne's story.
It is.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer pace of technological change.
Totally.
But remember, we're not just along for the ride.
Right.
We have agency. We have a voice.
We do.
And by using that voice, by making conscious choices,
Yeah.
we can steer this technological revolution in a direction that benefits everyone.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation.
It has.
It's a powerful reminder that we all have a role to play in shaping the future of technology.
Awesome.
This deep dive may be over, but the conversation is just beginning.
It is.
Thanks for joining us.